This is the Wing Woman Show. Are you ready?
You're listening to The Wing Woman Show, and this is your host, Morgan Barse. Today on the podcast, I am writing solo with a solo episode. We don't have a guest today because we are talking about all things planning and preparing for the new year. And as much as I love a good holiday season, the hot chocolate, the cozy blankets, the Hallmark Christmas movies, I love setting myself up and reevaluating the previous year so that you can set yourself up to pursue that big vision or your business even stronger in the new year. I guess that's the planning side in me, but I think coming off of a year like 2020, it really allowed so many people to reevaluate what is important and cut a lot of fluff out of their lives. So reevaluating how important their health is, their families, their safety. So I'm going to roll right into my breakdown process. I right now am in the thick of reevaluating every single thing that I am involved in. So if you're watching the video version of this podcast, you can see, but I went to the dollar store and I bought one of these big white, I think they're like a foam board. So I bought one of those. I am in the process of writing down every little thing that takes up even an ounce of my time and really just ripping apart, finding all the holes in those projects and figuring out what kinds of things can I solve now in December to line me up so in January I can hit the ground running. And I mean, I am going as specific as when I'm looking at my website, looking through and finding maybe faulty buttons or fonts that don't match our branding font. So reevaluating that side of things. I think that's important. So even if you're pursuing a new idea, find the holes in your personal life that may hinder you from having the success that you want to have. So these are things like maybe some bad habits you have, or maybe you want to cut down on the Netflix, or maybe you want to add in something like a more stable morning routine. You can even do this for your personal life if maybe you don't have a project or a business right now. But I think there's something almost therapeutic about taking everything that is holding some kind of your energy, finding the holes and fixing them and just brain dumping it all on a piece of paper. So I would highly recommend that. This does not have to be a super aesthetically pleasing, organized process. Honestly, if it is aesthetically pleasing, you probably did not do it the right way, because it should kind of be this process where you're just writing everything out on a piece of paper so you can check through everything, set your priorities for the end of the year and rolling into Q1 of the next year. And this is the best to do over the course of maybe a week or so, because you're able to see day in and day out what is taking up your time. Where is the gap between where you are currently and that vision that you have for yourself? Obviously, be realistic. We just came out of a pandemic, but give yourself some grace with that too, please. It is the month of December, and we all should be cozied up on the couch in our Christmas socks, drinking some hot chocolate. So, in the spirit of December, let's get right to it. A couple of other tips. Set the foundation now. So after you've went through the process of evaluating everything, and if you're still deciding this is the idea for me and this is what I'm going to accomplish in 2021, then what I want you to do is come up with that name, think about the why, all of these things. Now, all these tips I'm giving you can be done over the course of multiple days. And honestly, you probably should do them over the course of multiple days, because some of the best ideas hit you when you're not just sitting at a desk trying to think about it. They should be done when you're just like picking up coffee creamer at Target, because that's when the best ideas hit. So I want you to evaluate everything you're involved in. The second thing I want you to do before pursuing that next level of yourself is come up with a name, understand your why, what is truly driving you towards pursuing this. Reserve the Instagram handles, reserve the social handles. I'm not asking you to put out a ton of content. I just want you to have everything reserved. You are deeply rooted in your why, so you understand. That way in January, you are good to go. You have all the accounts. And when you're in a place where it's not the holiday season and you're not spending time with family and you're ready to push out content and you're ready to sign on new clients, everything is already set up for you. My next biggest tip that kind of piggybacks off of that, and I tell all of my clients this, there needs to be an overarching mission or vision to this project that you are pursuing. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you're listening to this and you're like, in 2021, I am going to launch a shampoo line, a line of shampoo products. There needs to be some kind of overarching mission so that your content is not just consumed by buy my shampoo. This is how great my shampoo is. There needs to be some kind of overarching mission. So an example of that for a shampoo line could be something like diversity, or if it's a women's shampoo line, female empowerment. So having that overarching vision that your ideal clients can connect to and relate to establishes that community that, as a idea driven person, I think everyone dreams of having that kind of community. And by having that overarching vision, people can attach to that idea before they need to attach to you. So I use this, well, I tell all my clients this, but I think it's really important with people just starting out. So if you're just starting out as an author, as a speaker, that overarching vision needs to be very dominant because they're not as familiar with you. So when they connect to that overarching vision, they see you as a leader of carrying out that message. One of our clients, Sir Bonnie, is writing a book. It's like a modern twist on fairy tales. And we started working together, I think, since July now. When we started working together, she told me about her book, and we developed a series, an Instagram live series called Find Your Fairy Tale, because it kind of goes in theme with the book. But the interview series, she would bring on 2 guests a week on an Instagram live and talk to them about how they are finding their fairy tales in their adult lives. So we brought on guests ranging from TikTok influencers to bankers, all different industries, which expanded her reach, helped her grow her platform. But audience members can relate to the idea of finding your fairy tale. A fairy tale is something that you are familiar with since the time that you started reading books and into adult life, as you are trying to chase that dream that you had for yourself. So we developed that out for her, and that is honestly the perfect example of establishing a strong overarching vision, because now her audience, and she's building her community, they see her as a leader of finding your fairy tale. So that would be my biggest example for you. So even if you're looking to launch some kind of e-commerce store, I would still ask you, what is that overarching vision that people need to connect to? Next tip: when you are pursuing an idea, you get so excited, you probably had a couple too many coffees while you were thinking about it, so you're overly ambitious. You're thinking, I'm going to be on TikTok, and then I'm going to do Instagram lives, and I'm going to write articles for LinkedIn, but I'm still going to be able to run the business, and maybe you're still working a full-time job. And while you're very much so going to be able to do it all, people underestimate the amount of energy and the emotional process of what it's like to actually launch something and pick a couple of platforms to show up consistently on. So in the beginning, you're not draining all your energy. You can always build up, but pick a couple of platforms in the beginning. I would say 1 or 2 that really line up with your key strengths so that it's not a draining process for you. And my last tip for you today is, what is a simple way that you can start now or on January 1st? So I actually ran into someone last night that I was talking about this with, and she wants to do Japanese tutoring. She wants to help with tutoring. And she asked, like, what are some ways that I can actually promote this? How can I get started? And pick the simplest thing. So my advice to her: instead of spending the time, the money, the energy into developing a website and building out all these platforms, what is the quickest way that you can get to that end goal of impacting people through tutoring them? And that would be through something like setting up a quick calendar link through Calendly. I recommend Calendly. I use that for my calendar links where people can just go on, book a Zoom call, pay for it right on the call, and then you can start tutoring. You don't need a website for that. You can start with friends and family. You can ask for referrals. But what is the quickest way? There's so much noise in this industry, and when it comes to starting up a business, that I think we become distracted by the fact that we need all of these shiny things to put ourselves out there and start pursuing that vision. But I would ask you, how can you cut down on that fluff? And if you needed to launch this tomorrow, how could you do it? These are my top tips on how you can use December to your greatest advantage to line you up to up level that new idea in January 2021. These are things that you can do while you're picking up your Starbucks mobile order, and they don't require a lot of time and energy that is going to take away from the beautiful holiday season. Now, if you are serious about pursuing this new idea in the new year, then get yourself a community of wing women. So just as much as you would invest in your health, invest in this big idea for yourself. Get a community of resources and accountability so that at the end of 2021, you can look back at everything that you've accomplished this year. As a part of a member in our community, we have group coaching calls, matchmaking, where I go in and hand match you with other people in the community based on your goals. We have master classes, resources, personalized accountability check-ins where I am texting you, asking you, how is X, Y, and Z coming? Can you give me an update on this? Every so often to keep you on track, because we all know, and we've all been there when we set an intention for the new year and we tell ourselves that this is going to be the year that I do the thing, whatever that thing is. Maybe it's start the business, start the charity, host the event, and then the year starts to get into full swing. You have to drop your kids off at soccer practice, school is getting back started, and slowly but surely that dream vision starts to take a seat on the back burner, unfortunately. So don't do that to yourself this year. 2021, I think after a year like 2020, you deserve it to yourself to invest in the future and your biggest visions. So if that is something that you're interested in joining for literally the price of a gym membership, click the link down below or send me a message on Instagram and I will give you a discount code so that you can try it because you are a wonderful podcast listener.